Hello there, motherfuckers, and welcome to your Evolution review. Now, I've got such a headache after watching this show. Not that it was a bad show or there was bad wrestling or anything like that, but the simple fact of the matter is that they just kept going on and on about how amazing this moment was and how, grand this moment was and, how this was the first ever women's pay-per-view and, we could do anything. This is inspirational. And, it just really, started to fucking hurt my head. Enough already. It sounds so stupid. We're breaking down barriers. You're fucking wrestlers! Oh my God, you're not gonna change the world. You're wrestling. You're wrestling. This has no consequence on anything. No one cares. So, poetically, the show starts off with sound problems, technical difficulties. Michael Cole is talking, his, volume is all the way down. It's, not channeled properly. And, you hear, the people from the production truck saying, your mic is off. No one can hear you. What a professional way to start off the show. It's like, this is a live. I know the old thing, it's live. Anything can happen when it's live. Very true, but when it's a pay-per-view, you would think that just maybe they take the proper precautions, to make sure that something like this doesn't happen at the beginning of the show. But they have the musical performance, they take the Alice Cooper's guitarist. She's a woman. There was another female guitarist on the entrance ramp that did vocals. The one from WrestleMania was Alice Cooper's guitarist. So, that was a good way of starting it off. I think it was an original song that they did. I guess it was called Evolution since they said evolution at least 50 fucking times during the song. But I'm just going to take a wild guess there. That was cool to start it off with music. That made it feel like a WrestleMania moment, even though they started to not do music at WrestleMania, which I think was a big mistake. It used to add a little bit of pizzazz to the event, so at least they did it here. The one thing, this show starts off with Trish and Lita kicking it off, which just seems downright bizarre to me. Maybe if Alexa Bliss didn't get hurt and we didn't wind up with Alicia Fox taking her place, maybe this show would have been a little bit later in the show, but they kicked it off with Trish and Lita. The two people defining this show, probably the two women that people were looking most forward to seeing on the show, are kicking it off. And, they've had a lot of bizarre choices over the years for pay-per-views with kicking off matches. We've seen John Cena kick off a pay-per-view. We've seen the World Heavyweight Championship defended in the opening match. We've seen it defended in the middle of a show. There's no rules anymore when it comes to the formatting of a show because they don't know how to format a show. So we start off this match, and there's something very noticeable about the arena to me. I thought maybe when it came on, they were having technical difficulties. Maybe that's why it was so dark. But no, it was dark. I wonder why it was dark in there. And then I was like, oh yeah, I don't remember them saying they sold out the Coliseum. You know why it was dark? Because they didn't want anyone to see in the upper rafters. And if you noticed with the camera tonight, they were super careful at where they were aiming that thing. Don't want to get too much of the top rows because you might see that no one wanted to see the show. There was nobody there at this event. There was nobody there. They darkened. I've never seen an arena that dark. I don't remember the last time I've seen it that dimmed out before. But it was shockingly dimmed. There was complete darkness. Darkness had fallen on the arena. You ever hear the term dark match? Well, this was a real dark match. I mean, my God. I mean, like, the amount of spots where they darkened up the audience, even in the main part of the lower levels. Then as it went on, I think that they started to kind of lighten it up a bit. But at the beginning of the show, like, either no one was on time, but whatever the case may be, throughout the whole night, the whole arena was like fucking pitch black. And I was like, they're not doing so well. This whole thing, like, this is a big event. It really showed that this was a bomb. I guarantee you this is going to be the last women's pay-per-view that they do. You know, at least like as a pay-per-view or something. They might do something on the network or whatever, like record a house show. But, you know, this, a lot of people said, was just for the crown jewel to counteract the negativity. And I think that's probably what it was. But for the most part, you know, we'll get to the rest of the show. Because I probably should leave this to the end of the video to, like, kind of give my closing thoughts. So Trish and Lita defeat Alicia Fox and Mickie James. The ending was completely botched. It looked horrible. Of course, they replay it. Of course you want to replay the botched ending. Like, don't try to hide it. You know, like, if you fuck up, it's okay to try to pretend it because it's embarrassing, you know, or you can admit, you know, what do you call it, that the referee had a lapse in judgment, whatever. Make some type of excuse. You know, I remember I've mentioned in the past, Matt Stryker was very good at this when he was on commentary. When a wrestler would, like, slip on the ropes, he talked about, like, you know, perspiration from the wrestlers dripping down onto the ropes, and that would cause them to become slippery. And it sounded a little bit ridiculous, but then you kind of thought about it. I was like, well, maybe, you know, just to put some doubt in your mind, to kind of take your mind off the fact that they fucked up. But Alicia Fox's timing was way off. So Trish Stratus hits the Stratus faction, the Bulldog. She hits it on Alicia Fox, hits it on Mickie James, rather. Alicia Fox is responsible for going to break up the pinfall, and her timing is just like, it couldn't be any more off if she tried. I mean, like, way, way off. And the thing is, what's crazy is they played again from another angle. And you can see, like, the referee is like, huh? Yeah, I'm waiting, like, okay, I understand that, like, they didn't want to kick off the show and give the victory to Alicia Fox and Mickie James, you know, because we all knew who was winning here, obviously, unless they were going to pull a major swerve, you know, from behind. And the thing is, maybe they should have done that, because when I look at the finish of this match, it just looks completely ridiculous. That it's so obvious that the timing was off and that Alicia Fox just didn't make it. So in the past, they've done things to compensate, but I can recall there was a lot of moments where, you know, the referee was out of position or a wrestler was out of position and they didn't kick out on time. But every time it happens, it just looks completely fucking horrible. The last time this happened was with AJ and Kevin Owens with the shoulders. And I'll tell you, like, you always know. It's like, it stands out like a sore thumb when something goes wrong, even if you weren't fully paying attention. It was like, damn, but like this time I was like paying attention, sadly, and I saw everything. And I was like, what the fuck happened there? As far as the match goes overall, I mean, it was okay. You know, Alicia Fox is good. You know, she's another character. You know, they dressed up. Alicia Fox was, they were characters from Alice in Wonderland. And so, you know, at least they add a little bit of, like, extra character to it. But, I mean, it was okay. It was nothing mind-blowing. It was, you know, it probably would have been better if Alexa Bliss was in there. There would have been added heat, you know. Then we had a little women's promo, and it was, like, SJW City. Every single one of these girls was like, there's nothing that we can't do, you know. And then Lillian Garcia, who's back as the ring announcer, and I was happy to see that, especially at this pay-per-view. But she made the one thing that she shouldn't have said. You know, women's revolution is happening everywhere. You know, revolution, it's happening everywhere, including Hollywood. Really? Really? With the Me Too movement and how controversial it is, and the simple fact that a lot of the accusations sound completely ridiculous, you're really going to put something that's very negative on this show? It's a wrestling show, motherfuckers. And Lillian Garcia and all these other girls, they're talking about Hollywood and everything. Yeah, because, okay, so maybe they were talking about the movies and not the Me Too movement. Well, okay, so Ocean's 8 and Ghostbusters, I guess those movies just did a bang-up job at the box office. Oh, what's that? They didn't? So I don't get what the point is. Everything surrounding Hollywood is a disaster when it comes to women. And whether some of those things like, you know, Harvey Weinstein, all that shit, it may be 50% true, 25%. I know it's a little bit true. I don't know if all the accusations, because it's a fucking gold mine is what it is. Do you for 1 minute want people to really take their mind off this product, which is supposed to be an escape from reality, and make them think about Hollywood and what's going on over there? And you really want us to think about Brett Kavanaugh and the Supreme Court, and you want us to think about, you know, his accuser and all this, and who's lying, and everyone's heartless for not believing her. Like, you know, like, can we just enjoy this show, what little of it we can enjoy? Can we do that without you having to shove the fucking social justice warrior, you know, just the whole entire, like, reprogramming of your audience in there? Like, look, we all know that you have motives and everything, and that you want to try to get in good because, you know, social justice warrior culture is the new hip thing to do. It's already been shown that when you do enter into that type of shit, it leads to disaster. Because even though there's a lot of people who like it, there's just as many people, if not more, that don't like that type of shit. So don't do it. So Nia Jax ends up winning the Battle Royal. And I talked about entrances, and I hope that they don't do the thing they did at WrestleMania 25 with Kid Rock playing all the women down to the ring. This time, all the women had entrances. Only problem is it took forever. But at least, you know, Alondra Blaze and all of them. And I was very confused with the eliminations in this match. So, Michelle McCool, Taker's wife, is running roughshod in the Royal Rumble. And she gets eliminated like that. I think, like, who did she get eliminated by? I think Ember Moon. Ember Moon was, like, eliminating people like crazy. So it's like, Ember Moon has been doing nothing on Raw, but all of a sudden in the Battle Royal, oh, it's time to get her over. And after the Battle Royal, she's not going to be over. Trust me. She didn't even end up winning. After all that, it was like one of those things like, oh, well, she got over by having a great performance in the Battle Royal. People don't get over by having good matches nowadays. And, they definitely are not going to get over by having Battle Royal victories, and not even Battle Royal victories, but, you know, runner-up Battle Royal accolades, I suppose. That's just not how it is. I'm getting a little bit too much sun in here, so let's do this. Looks a little bit better. Anyway, you know, so you had all these other girls. Michelle McCool, like, I don't even think she got a single elimination. I like the way how the Iconics are being annoying in the beginning, and they just had them be the first ones eliminated. The crowd boos. Shut up. Like, first of all, you know, the only reason that moment was satisfying is because there's such a bad promo. It was good to just see their asses get fucking tossed out right away. So, I was happy that they at least did that. That was like a pretty funny moment that they did. You know, taking advantage of how annoying they are, and then them just, like, getting thrown the fuck out. But it's alarming at how much time they fucking spend on these girls, and they do nothing. And, you know, like, I don't know, they go, like, back and forth with them. They have like a big moment. They have them win in Australia. They're super behind them. And okay, I get it. They were in Australia, but it was a match against Asuka and a former women's champion. So why exactly are we like getting on board with them and then just abandoning them? Having them just like look like goofs getting tossed out. Like, I don't know. Like, you either stay on their side, push them, or don't. Like, it's your decision. I don't like them. I'm fine with them just being goofs. I don't even think that they should be on the roster, but that's your call. You do what you want. It's your talent. You can do what you want with them. So, anyway, like, it was good to see Alondra Blaze. She looked good in there. You know, you had Ivory. It was just, I was confused with the number of eliminations, by certain people. And Ember Moon eliminating Tamina, like, I don't understand. They teased this battle between Tamina and Nia Jax. So, like, they know there's money there, but they're not smart enough to make that the last two. You know what I mean? Like, Ember Moon of all people. And then what's funny is then they did another SJW promo backstage, you know, or like a pre-tape or whatever it was. And, you know, you've got Ember Moon. She's got the contacts in. You know, she's like doing that whole thing, that whole gimmick and whatever that gimmick may be. She's a vampire. She's a carnivore. She's a weirdo. I don't know what she's supposed to be. You tell me. So she's backstage and she's like, well, this is a really marvelous moment, guys. I'm gonna go to Starbucks and probably get, you know, pumpkin spice or something. She sounds like a Valley girl right after she's, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is why kayfabe should just die. Cause it looks ridiculous. Look how cool and awesome I am, guys. And then, it's really marvelous. I'm so excited. Remember how WWE was 10 months ago? Imagine when we're going to be in 10 months. Imagine where we're going to be a year from now. Even 10 months it's only 2 more months. Oh my God, it's annoying. Holy mac, like, holy smokes. Holy cow. I'm just saying, like, the amount of just, you know, we're putting ourselves over. Yay, like, enough. Like, we get it. So, a good moment for you. The first ever women's pay-per-view, never thought this would happen. You're not allowed to wrestle a crown jewel. And the funny thing is, it's like, what did they ever tell these women not to do? You know what I'm saying? It's like, just because you weren't held on the same, you know, level as men, it's because really I take a look at the wrestling product and I just don't see it. I don't see enough of these women really, like, being as good as the men. That's just how it is. You could blame that on booking. I don't know. Just, they've never been as good. It never has been that way. And to be quite honest, out of all these girls, I'll be quite honest with you. None of them have gotten as over as Chyna or Sable. And that's the truth. Like, I don't think even Lita or Trish Stratus got the same level of reaction as Sable. And maybe that's not fair to compare because Sable was in the heart of the Attitude Era, 98 and early 99. So maybe, you know, it's not fair to compare. But I'm just saying, like, those girls got over mostly. Like, Sable got over with her looks, got over it with just, you know, being a badass, but just having the right combination. And Chyna was just an over badass. So it had a lot to do with just who they were as people and how they were portrayed and how they looked. Chyna not so much for, like, being the beauty queen, but, you know, it really was all about look one way or another. It's the same thing with men. It's about the look, too. You know, so, like, whatever it is, I'm sorry, you can't get around looks and everything. You just can't. But I'm not saying that Nia Jax is ugly. So, it's like, it's your guys' fault. You fucking figure out why these girls are not over. And it doesn't matter if you shove it down our throat. That's not going to make them any more over. You're just being annoying by constantly saying, oh, you got to respect these women. Who said that we don't? Who says that we have to? So, Toni Storm defeated Io Shirai. And this is the finals of the Mae Young tournament from NXT. Or is it NXT or is it just the Mae Young tournament? I don't know. I quite frankly don't care. So, both of them were pretty good. Toni Storm reminds me of Ashley backwards hat rocker, you know, and Io Shirai looks almost exactly like Kari Sang. Okay, I know a lot of people are going to be, oh, you're just saying that all Japanese people look the same. No, same hair color, pretty much the same outfit, almost the same exact facial structure. Like, they're like clones of each other. I'm just saying. Decent wrestling match. Really funny is like, the Storm Zero is Toni Storm's finisher, which is a Tiger Driver, which is a move that, you know, we really haven't seen that much of. The last person to really use it was Jamie Noble, and before that, Ahmed Johnson. So it's a fresh move. I like it. Of course, Io kicks out of it the first time it's ever hit on a major show. So, you know, they already wasted no time burying her finisher. Now, she ends up winning with it with the second one. I'm sorry, but, like, you two are virtual unknowns. Now, I know, oh, they're both really well known in Japan. Well, this isn't Japan. So the first time you're showing them to us, you're already having them kick out. Like, enough with this shit. I've been watching Ring of Honor for years and years, and I thought at first, like, it was cool when they did this, but I've explained in numerous other reviews. This is not good. It buries so many of these finishers. People kick out of finishers before they ever even finish anybody off. Establish the finisher at least, and then have them kick out. But no, it's like, oh, this is their finisher, and they kick out. So then how is it their finisher? It's still like, oh, maybe, possibly, move I might beat you with. And then at the end, like, some girl I don't even know who's a trainer at NXT comes in. She's giving flowers to them. I know this is like something they do in Japan. I've seen it before, obviously. But Triple H is there. Stephanie with the face. Oh, God, I can't stand her. She was even in... Thank God they didn't, like, they only put her in one of those SJW promos where they were putting themselves over, for God's sakes. At least they did that. So, I'm taking a look at this, and I'm just like, you know, Triple H is like trash talking Taker and Kane and all this, and, you know, he's like the ultimate heel, and all of a sudden he's like hugging Kari, like, good job, guys. He's like the father figure. It's like they don't understand what they want him to be. Like, it's just so ridiculous, and they're crying, and it's like, can I ask a question? Who cares? Like, first of all, who are these people? Like, and don't keep saying, if you don't know Japanese wrestling, don't talk. Because the way I look at it is, then they shouldn't even be presented. If we don't know who they are, and we're supposed to get all emotional over them, you're doing something wrong. Because, first of all, I'm not going to get emotional over two wrestlers I just saw for the first time on WWE television. You can't just assume everyone's watching the Mae Young Classic, because I'll guarantee you most people are probably not. Even the smarts probably. Well, I don't know if I go that far. But I'd say most of the people who are watching Raw, for example, are probably not, and probably like half or a quarter of the people subscribed to the network are actually watching this fucking thing. Are we really gonna sit there through fucking 32 people wrestling it out in some big-ass tournament of virtual unknowns? Oh, I can't wait to see who's gonna be the future of women's wrestling. I mean, like, I don't care at this point. Like, they all suck. And I'm looking at the highlights, and I'm just saying to myself, like, none of these girls look like they're worth a damn at all. I see no Trishas, I see no Litas, I see no Alondra Blazes, I see no Chynas, I see no Sables, I see no Charlotte Flairs, I don't even see any Becky Lynches, like anyone of those caliber. They're not there. So I'm just kind of sitting here saying to myself, the fuck? Like, I'm not going to sit here and fucking cry my eyes out over these girls who I don't even know. I know a lot of people are going to pretend, what an emotional moment. It hit me right there. I mean, it hit me right there. Like, come on. Like, you know, I don't fucking give a shit. So, you had Natalya, Sasha Banks, and Bayley defeating the Riot Squad. And this went on fucking forever. Like, and I love this, like, how they're trying to tell us all about Sarah Logan. Oh, she's a Viking. She's a Viking. Is she? All of a sudden, one day, she came out with something painted on her face, and suddenly, she was a Viking. And also, they were supposed to be characters. Like, Liv Morgan was supposed to be Pennywise from It. Ruby Riott was supposed to be Jigsaw from Saw. And Sarah Logan was supposed to be Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I'm just like, how are their costumes even that? Like, when was Leatherface ever wearing camouflage? Unless it was in one of the newer movies that I didn't see. But usually Leatherface is known for the smock, you know, the apron. And Liv Morgan, like Pennywise, like, I don't know. Like, she didn't look like a clown. She wasn't wearing face paint or didn't have her hair weird. I don't think Pennywise was ever pink. Ruby Riott, I could see a little bit. She had the bow tie. But aside from that, like, these were awful fucking costumes. Like, Alicia Fox and Mickie James, their costumes a lot better. And I just see a lot of, like, the whole Riot Squad thing is just, like, being very poorly produced. Like, first, Ruby Riott, they improved her look. You know, they wanted to make her, like, a punk rocker. And they weren't even, like, making her look like one much. She just looked like some weird girl with a really bad hairstyle. Now she kind of looks a little bit better. She's also improved a lot in a lot of different small ways. And, you know, a lot of these girls, for the most part, they're not bad wrestlers. Like, Liv Morgan, the girl, you know, also put on a decent performance. The thing was, like, this was just so fucking long. I couldn't even stand it. Like, this fucking match, it just went on and 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 on, and it didn't stop. Like, it's a 6-person tag. Like, enough is enough already. Like, you know, it's not that even important of a match, and they threw it right in the middle of the fucking show. Like, okay, I've seen enough. End it already. It's not that good. It's no one's really enjoying it all that much, but you know, oh, we have to make sure that we get, like, no, the show was not, this was not good. I didn't enjoy it, like, because it was just going on for too long. Anything that they did and it was good, there was just nothing memorable about it. And like, there you are trying to, like, once again put Sasha Banks over. And it's so obvious that she's, like, fallen so far. Like, she was in the first ever women's Hell in a Cell, and now she's just doing, like, a 6-person tag. Like, this is not an honor. This is just, like, you were thrown in there, like, as a favor. Like, okay, we'll give you the spotlight. They just wanted to get his... She's lucky that they didn't just throw her in the Battle Royal, to be quite honest. And judging by, like, how this match turned out, they might as well have just extended the time of the Battle Royal and just put them in there, because this match was doing nobody any favors. Then you had Shayna Baszler defeating Kairi Sane. And I have to say this was the first time I've ever seen Shayna Baszler. And she was awesome. I mean, like, this was like her style. just the submissions and like, I don't know if she has like former training in MMA. I think she does. I don't know. She was just like a badass. Like, okay, she won the NXT title, which means that Kairi Sane is probably going to be promoted to the main roster pretty soon. And I like her gimmick too with the pirate thing. I mean, she stole Paul Burchill's gimmick out, not kidding, but thing is here, it's like Shayna Baszler should not be in NXT. You know where she should be? She should be on Raw wrestling Ronda Rousey. Meanwhile, Ronda Rousey is in the main event with Nikki Bella, who we all knew she was going to tear apart from the very start. I'll get to that in a little bit when it approaches its rightful time in the review. But I'm sitting here saying to myself, like, what is this girl even doing in NXT? Like, you put tons of rookies on the main roster that are not even prepared iconics, and you've got Shayna Baszler, like, this girl who's obviously already proven herself, and she's just, like, wasting away on NXT, not getting the exposure she deserves. Like, she looks like a tough fucking bastard, and she is. And, I didn't even really like that she had to have, like, her personal, like, hands, her friends, like, helping her out at ringside. Like, to beat someone the size of Kairi Sane, like, that's not believable. That didn't make her look good. So it's like, for everybody that says NXT is so much better than WWE, every time they showcase it, I'm like, some things are a little bit better. Basically, the only thing is sometimes I see people in NXT that should be on the main roster, and a lot of people on the main roster should be on NXT. That's my perspective on it. That's what I see most of the time. That's what I see from NXT. I see a lot of guys wasting away over there. But then again, you've got people like Eric Young who they bring up, and where is he even? So, Shayna Baszler, like, this is a girl that should be wrestling Ronda Rousey. It's like the same thing like Sonya Deville, but, it's like, she won a title here, so I should be like, putting her over and like singing her praises, but it's just like, it's another NXT title. She just, should be on the main roster already. Like, they're going to give her another run in NXT. She's going to spend another few months there. It's like, what is that even going to benefit her for? But, like, I'm telling you, NXT doesn't benefit anybody by being over there. They don't hone their craft or anything like that. No one has really benefited. Has Bobby Roode benefited from it? Like I said, did Eric Young benefit from it? No. None of these people benefited from being in NXT. They're not doing anything for them. They're not helping them build their characters. They're not doing anything for them. They're not going to magically become better wrestlers in NXT. It's just like a placeholder until they get to WWE, until a spot opens up. Trust me, there's many people that could be replaced right now on the main roster with a Shayna Baszler. Sasha Banks, Bayley, the Iconics. I mean, you could fucking name it. I mean, there's so many fucking people that you could just pretty much... They're just wasting away. They're wasting time with them. I don't know what to tell you. There's so many people, and so many people that I looked at in the Battle Royal when I'm like, what are they even doing there? And then I'm looking at Shayna Baszler. But that's enough for putting over Shayna. She's a good talent. I hope she gets on the main roster soon. She gets the exposure she deserves. Becky Lynch defeated Charlotte in the last woman standing match. This was a really good match. The only thing is, like, once again, I don't understand how the leg drop off the ladder doesn't end Charlotte. Now, I understand they're trying to put her over. Becky Lynch then buries her under a bunch of chairs. I think they did that with the Big Show. Something like that. Yeah, I think they did that with the Big Show, so they kind of copied that spot, but whatever. Like, anyone even fucking remembers that shit. So, but a power bomb through the table does it. Like, I don't really, like, understand the logic. To me, the leg drop off the ladder through the announce table was the big match ender for me. Not the power bomb through the table off the apron. That was just me. I just thought that it would have looked better if they just ended it there. Like, there's so many examples of where a match should have just ended and they just keep going with it. Like, they have like no semblance of time, like when to cut it off. Like, do you realize, like, if they just cut it off at the ladder spot, like, this pay-per-view could have ended at a clean 3 hours. But they insisted, we gotta push it beyond 3 hours. So what happened to your 4-hour pay-per-view format? I guess they didn't want to do it this time. Thank God. So, but I mean, it was a good match for what it was. It was just, I started like wearing out by this point. Like, seriously, there's one thing, these pay-per-views take it out of you. Like, I'm telling you, like, even if there's a few good matches, there's just like, it's just not enough. You just don't really feel like you're even having fun at these pay-per-views, like, or any show that WWE puts out. So, I mean, let's just wrap things up. Ronda Rousey defeated Nikki Bella. Big surprise there. So, you know, you had like Brie running the distraction. Nikki got to hit her, you know, signature moves. And, you know, Ronda Rousey, well, not before the finish was botched. I don't know whose fault that was, but there was supposed to be a spot at the end where Nikki Bella is standing on the top rope. And then Ronda Rousey is supposed to armbar her and kind of like, you know, drag her. There was like supposed to be some type of flip. She was supposed to flip her off the top rope probably and slap the armbar on her. But it didn't work out that conventionally. What happened was some type of weird thing where like Nikki didn't go down. She didn't drop, or maybe Ronda didn't roll properly. I don't know what the case is. If you ask the smarks, they're going to be like, oh, they both suck. So, you know, there's not a reliable source there to learn. You know, who cares whose fault it was, whatever. Ronda slaps on the armbar. She wins the match. All the women are at the entrance ramp. Yay! Like, girl power and all that. And, you know, like, I just, like, I don't even really care about, like, any of these matches. The thing is, what really kind of just, like, did me in for this pay-per-view was all these little promos, like, with putting themselves over. We're great people because we did a pay-per-view with all women, but we're still gonna go to Saudi Arabia and put on a performance where women are not allowed to perform, and even though they killed a journalist and there's many human rights violations going on over there. So, you know what I mean? Like, we're talking about human rights. It is a very controversial topic because we see it all the time. There's a whole SJW mindset. There's a movement, the Me Too movement, women empowerment. It's very anti-man and everything, anti-white male, anti-male in general. And, you know, people are sick of this shit. So it's like, you think that maybe, just maybe, you could put on the professional wrestling and you might not have to hear that fucking bullshit? Well, think again. Think again, motherfucker, because your WWE is steeped in a steaming pile of SJW shittiness. Because they had no qualms whatsoever, no reservations about putting themselves over, about how wonderful they are. Look at us. We're, you know, so much for women's rights. And it's like, I've talked about this in the past in other videos. Like, you're talking about women's rights and you've got Stephanie McMahon right there pretty much set to run the company after Vince McMahon kicks the bucket. So don't talk to me about women's rights. Women all over the country are CEOs, they're managers, they're supervisors. They you know, big Hollywood actresses, singers, Rihanna, Beyonce, some of the richest people in the whole fucking world. So I don't want to hear about women being held back, being held down, because it's a big fucking pile of shit, that argument, honestly. And they made, you know, and Lillian Garcia, like, I understand it was just a comment made in passing, so I'm not gonna chew her up and spit her out here, you know, but the fact of the matter simply is that, you know, you're bringing up Hollywood and everything, and that's like, that is kind of what I was thinking about going into this event. You know, it's like the all-women's pay-per-view, the all-women's cast on Ghostbusters, the all-women's cast on Ocean's 8. You know, it's like, gotta put more women in Star Wars, gotta put more women, you know, in sports, you know, you gotta have the you know, I guess it all started with the WNBA. And they saw firsthand that the WNBA is not even a quarter as popular as the actual, you know, National Basketball Association. So they you know, right away, right from the offset, you know, don't you see that every single thing involving women on TV, when you forcibly try to do it and you say only for the women, it never works. Nobody wants to see that shit. And it's not because anyone's sexist. It's not because anybody's misogynistic. It's just they don't like shit being shoved down their fucking throat. And this ain't like Roman Reigns is shoved down their throat. I'm talking about concepts and agendas. And just, you know, having ulterior motives. Like you're doing something not because you truly want to do it and because you feel passionate about it, but because you feel that it's like the right time to do this. Ooh, we're going to take advantage of social justice. Yeah, social justice. Because that's what's popular. We want to do social justice. I mean, like, it's just, come on already. You know, we're talking about just how great we are and how wonderful we're doing and all this shit. And it's like, who wants to sit there for all that time? And then, you know, Michael Cole, like, puts his cuck boots on, and he's, like, right there between Beth Phoenix, who did a good job, by the way, on commentary, and so did Renee Young. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to bash any of these people. You had some very talented people out there. I just spent quite a few minutes putting over Shayna Baszler, for example. You know, Corey Sang also, not a bad talent. And here's the thing, you know, it's like, it's a lot of bullshit. And also, I didn't even mention during the Battle Royal about Asuka. So Asuka, nobody's ready for Asuka. Asuka's this great fucking talent. She's going to take over the world. They shoved her down our throats. They said all this shit, like putting her over. Oh, she's wonderful. She's the Empress of Tomorrow. And she's just in a battle royal on the show. She won the Royal Rumble. And then she just is like in a battle royal where she doesn't even fucking win it? What? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you see how they treat their women. They don't treat them well. They're going to Saudi Arabia. That's not treating the women well. That's saying we're going to use you women for the idea, for the concept. We want to get the concept over, so we need you women, and then we're going to kick you to the curb in about a week. And then, you know, when we get back from Saudi Arabia, then we'll start talking about the women's revolution again. But let's take a rain check on that for at least a week. And you know, it's like, this whole thing about wanting to be taken seriously and all that. And like Ember Moon, just like, I'm playing that over in my mind. Think where we're gonna be in 12 months, like, you know, they sound like a bunch of little girls. Like, when I grow up, I want to be a firefighter. Like, you know, like, these are grown-ass women, and they're talking like they're fucking children. My dreams will be achieved. Like, don't they just sit back and say that this shit is cringeworthy as fuck? Like, does anybody honestly sit there and not think that this shit is cringe as fuck? Because it certainly is. I mean, we're sitting there, we're watching this fucking show that's like, it's a propaganda piece is what it is. And the thing is, you know, it's not so much, I don't think, like an agenda as it is an attempt to fit in and build their brand. Because, you know, we're looking at Disney, for example, and Disney loves SJW shit, right? That's what they're all about and everything. There's, you know, okay, listen, guys, I've looked at The Last Jedi for a while. I still like that Star Wars movie. I was entertained by it greatly. I saw it 3 times in theaters. But I will not lie, there's definitely certain things about SJW culture that made their way into that movie. And looking back on it, in the Han Solo movie, there was a lot of it. So Disney likes that shit. And there's plenty of it in the Avengers movies. You can see that shit weaseling its way in every now and again. You know, they did it again, like a little bit in Spider-Man Homecoming. There's just, it's not as much as people say, but there are elements of it. So, remember what I said about them trying to appeal to Disney and appeal to different buyers? Maybe they can't get Disney. Maybe they may get bought out by another fucking big company. I don't know who's going to buy them out, but they are looking for somebody to buy them out. That's why they're building their brand. That's why they don't give a shit about individual wrestlers. They just want a nice brand to sell, like Star Wars or Marvel. Build up the brand, sell it. Then Vince could go about his merry way with the fucking XFL, which is just beyond me why he would concentrate on a previous failure. So they're going to build up this brand, and, you know, they're all going to be steeped in SJW culture, and it's going to, it's going to, you know, put them over with Disney. It's going to put them over with all the bigwigs and all the other big companies that, you know, already put this shit in their movies to begin with, or demanded the directors and producers and the screenwriters put that shit into the movie one way or another. So that's why they're going so hard. That's why they're putting this pay-per-view out there. That's why they're doing all this shit. They don't give 2 shits. I doubt Vince McMahon really cares about social justice. Like, you know, like you hear all the stories about Vince McMahon, how he hates coughing and sneezing. Do you really think, like a weirdo like that, do you really think that he takes social justice to heart? That he's really gonna like sit there and be like, oh, well, the one thing I'm really concerned about is social justice. Just not gonna be something that crosses his mind. But probably when his lackeys, when the SJW writers, when the cucks of writers that they probably have, the new men, I gotta see how some of these writers look. Please show them to me. Show me how these writers look. I guarantee you they look like new males. Without a fucking doubt. You know, you're gonna show me these people, and it's just gonna fit them. So anyway, they probably told Vince that probably what you want to do is put some of this shit in your show, and Vince probably said, if it can make me money, I'm gonna do it. So whatever. It seems like they still get appearances on, you know, Good Morning America and ESPN. So they must be doing something right as it relates to that. You know, everyone else is hating them for it in general, but, you know, as long as the media likes them and everything, but their media is attacking them in the same breath because of the Saudi Arabia thing. So, you know, I don't know. Anyway, guys, there's a review. Like, after watching a show like this, it's like, oh my God, like, do we really have to watch Raw? I mean, after watching that show, and like, so what did I think about this show? It wasn't like horrible, but it wasn't good. You know, it was like average. It was like somewhere in the middle. It was mediocre. Like, I don't know. Let's like review here. What do we have? So, what was like the best match? I mean, I guess Becky and Charlotte, like, you know, I don't know. The Shayna Baszler match was good. Like, you had some good matches, but overall, it's like, you know, it wasn't anything special. And it was so annoying having them pushing the women's agenda, you know, all over the fucking show. It was like, oh my God. And, you know, I didn't want to sit through it, but I was like, this is the parts of the show that I want to talk about. The little promos and everything. And, you know, so we did. So we discussed it for about 50 minutes here. That's all I've got to say, guys. So if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe. Please make sure that you are still subscribed, because YouTube loves fucking around with my subscription numbers. Click the bell so you get all the notifications when I post all my new videos. Check out some of the other videos I have posted here. And guys, this has been your YWC champ, and I'm signing out.